Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome to Govberg Watches. Today, we're looking at the Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark II racing dial. You can see this vintage Omega Speedmaster Professional on our website, govbergwatches.com. View our entire pre-owned luxury watch inventory, and if you enjoy these videos, please download our app, Govberg On Time, for the latest luxury watch news, views, reviews, and multimedia. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, this is the real deal. The Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark II racing dial, constructed between 1969 and 1972, is a modern icon. Actually reissued in 2014 with an Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark II tribute model. You can't beat the real thing, and you can see it on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters, easy wearing. This is a 14.5 millimeter watch, but with a generously sloped flank featuring the distinctive polished bezel. You can see that it does slip under a tight sleeve or dress cuff quite easily. Now, the watch is large by the standards of the late 1960s, but it's not overpowering objectively. In fact, it's quite compact. The watch is only 45.5 millimeters from edge to edge, that is extremity of lug to extremity of lug, and its wrist presence is helped by its cushion profile. The watch is 41.5 millimeters across. It reads quite large because of its shape, but it is not an overpowering, oversized modern sports watch, not by any means. Part of the pleasure of wearing a vintage watch is the feel of a vintage watch, and this one features a period correct reference 1170 bracelet with 173 end links. You can see it remains in outstanding condition, and to put this on the wrist is to get a sense of what it was like to wear this watch back in the 1970s and late 1960s. It's silky, it's smooth, it's light on the wrist, and it gives the watch that aged character that vintage collectors crave. Now, it does have a very high quality stamped clasp that retains outstanding tolerances, such that it closes with a sharp snap and opens with a sharp snick. This one has exceptional life left in it, in spite of the fact that it's blown well past its 40th birthday. This is a true survivor with an outstanding dial, case, and tachymeter scale. One can see that the contrasting finishes, as well as the full-bodied metal of the original case, remains unmolested by years. If the watch has been refinished, it's been refinished gently and correctly. The radial adoucissage type sunburst metallic pattern, that is, a sunburst case finish radiating out from an imaginary center point, remains intact and in excellent condition. Now, in contrast to the Speedmaster Professional, the tachymeter scale of the Speedmaster Professional Mark II was moved from outboard to inboard, so it is underneath the mineral crystal, and that's a distinct change from the original Speedmaster Professional. That one used acrylic thermoplastic. This one uses mineral. We are entering a transition phase between thermoplastic and sapphire, and this watch has it. The tachymeter is incredibly crisp, like all elements of the dial, both correct and in outstanding condition. Now, the original tritium dial that you see here retains the marks that made it something of a cult watch in the early 1970s. Distinct from the Speedmaster Professional Mark II, this one features a unique checkerboard pattern, and all in all, the watch is simply redolent of the 1970s. This was the era of Heuer Carreras, Monacos, Ottavia, Omega Speedmaster racing dials. Even smaller brands got into the racing chronograph business during the 1970s. For instance, the early 1970s Oris Chronoris Star. This was the look, but few did it better than the Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark II racing dial. In a lot of ways, these Omega Speedmaster racing dials have become Omega's version of the exotic dial Rolex Daytonas, the so-called Paul Newmans, and this one has a completely different character and effect. And unlike the Paul Newman, this one still flies slightly under the radar, not quite overexposed to its detriment. It remains a cult classic and a celebrated Omega collector's piece. Now, inside the case is the same caliber 861 featured on the Speedmaster Professional. You can see it under the case back, featuring the characteristic Omega Speedmaster and Seamaster hippocampus. The 17-jewel manual wind chronograph beats away at 3 Hz or 21,600 vibrations per hour. It is the same movement as featured in the watch that started as the Moon watch and became the Shuttle watch, so the cam-operated derivative of the Lamagna caliber 1873. It's very tough, almost 7 millimeters thick. This watch is above all robust, and that's why NASA selected this movement for use in the space program. It can take a licking, keep on ticking, it can get frozen, it can get fried, it can get fumbled, and it can keep working. Naturally, in a completely different case, it has a completely different character, but make no mistake, this watch has the heart of a moon watch. You can see this vintage Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark II racing dial and our entire inventory of pre-owned luxury watches on our website, govbergwatches.com, and please visit our blog and download our app, Govberg On Time, for the latest news, views, reviews, and multimedia of luxury watches.